Good morning, Facebook fam. It's your girl on a Monday morning. How are you? It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, back bright and early on a Monday morning for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Throw some hearts up there. Throw some happy faces. Thumbs up to let me know y'all good. I see a couple of people are up bright and early, ready to get the day started, or you have already started your day. Hopefully, you had a chance to get you some tea, some coffee, some water, some Vita Burst, some Slim Fast, some Nutria, whatever y'all do to get yourselves right for the morning. I got I got my little vitamin coffee here, but let me tell you, I thought all coffee mugs were microwavable. I had to wrap a napkin around here because the handle was like burning my fingers. Retarded. But anyway, so today's topic for all my parents, parent-like people, and those who are guardians of children, and even if you're not, chime in. The topic for today is what are some rules that you have adopted from your childhood, from your parents, and now that you're older, what are some rules that you just absolutely do not agree with, and you just don't see yourself, and you won't see yourself adapting to it enough to work it into your family as far as your children are concerned. Um, so yeah, that's the topic, and I'm gonna bring my mom on before I start running my mouth, because y'all know I can talk, right? Hey, hey, what's going on, beautiful?
Hey, how is everybody? It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. The sun's shining through the window. How is everybody?
You look real
I
spring-ish.
hope everybody's doing good. Had a nice weekend. Got my prayer warriors on here. I'm ready.
How you doing, man? How you doing? Look, I'm
I'm doing
burning my
great.
fingers. Since when did all coffee mugs not be able to withstand like heat? Like the
Is that a
the
paper? Is that a paper?
this is a napkin this wrapped around the handle. The is
Oh,
look, my cup
you have
is
to be
love. It is not
careful.
loving me right now. Like I put it in the microwave, and the handle is like burning up. I almost burned my fingers off.
You got to be careful with that. Need those fingers.
Little chocolate fingers. Anyway, so today, you know what I realized, man? I've been trying to be
With
cute.
a lot.
I've been trying to be cute, trying, stay up with you every time I come on here, right? And I'm drinking coffee and I be hungry. I be hungry. I be drinking coffee and I don't be eating nothing. So
I
today,
would offer you some banana cake, banana
you know, I'm
bread,
a
but
banana.
you're allergic to
So wait a
bananas.
minute, hold up. You be over there eating and you don't even say nothing. I can't even tell you eat. So today I thought I was gonna be
I
sick. I
just
was
have.
like, yo, bump that. I'm good. I got my little. I don't even know what these are. What are they? Golden grams. But I'm gonna eat today.
Oh, okay, that's
I'm gonna have
good.
to
Nutritional.
do some of that, but I'm gonna eat today because
Yeah.
I've been hungry all
Yeah.
the time.
What you cook for dinner yesterday,
We actually
or
we
did you
ate.
cook?
No, I did not. I didn't. We ate out. Well, we didn't eat out. But let me rephrase that. Lord have mercy. But they have everybody at my
Okay,
door. CDC be knocking on the door.
I'm
No,
gonna
we
leave
did
that
eat
one
out.
alone.
We went past Sonic's because every once in a while we will allow the children to hop in the truck and we'll drive out and let them see the world from the inside of the truck. So we did that. We drove out,
Okay,
and then by that time I was
that
like,
was good.
I'm not cooking. So well, actually no, they wanted to stop because they didn't want me to cook. They were like, take a break with us. So we stopped at Sonic's and just sat there in the car, quarantined in our truck, eating and hanging out with each other.
That's good.
But
Kids got
today,
to see the world.
today I'm marinating some ribs. I'm marinating some ribs, so we putting some ribs on the grill. I'm so excited.
Ah,
I think I'm gonna make some turkey
14.
wings for like the middle of the week. Yeah, so
Ah,
we're gonna do that.
sounds
I got
great.
slabs,
I wonder
so
what our audience are eating
I don't
for
know. They
today.
may come
Anybody
jump.
grilling, cooking out?
It's Monday.
No, yes,
Nobody
no.
Nobody crazy enough to like go out there and grill with me and Johnny
Oh,
Castro on a
oh,
Monday.
wow.
But I don't
Okay.
know. I don't
Anybody
know.
comment on that topic? What's that topic again? You want to repete s'il vous plaît?
The topic. So the topic is what are some rules
What we talking about?
that you have adopted from your childhood, from your parents, um, that you find yourself doing now when you're dealing with your children or anybody for that matter. Um,
You're breaking up on me.
you can't hear me. Can y'all
You're
hear?
breaking up. I can hear you. You were breaking up.
Hopefully they can hear me because I can hear a clear signal.
Thumbs up. Oh, give us a
If y'all
signal if
can
you
hear
guys can
me,
hear
let me know if I'm
me.
breaking up. My mama said I'm breaking up. I think she doing that because she knows it's a rule that I didn't adopt. But what are some rules that you've adopted from your childhood, from your parents, that you utilize today with your children or with anybody for that matter? And now that you're an adult, what are some rules that you're like absolutely no, like I'm not doing that. Like let me know. Type it in the box. We talk about it.
Okay.
So
Beat them.
I'm gonna ask you first. I'm gonna ask you because I don't want to get in
Beat them.
trouble early in the morning.
Beat them. I take the Sealy route. Beat them. No.
So what? I
No,
mean, what? Let me know what you got
I
from
say
grandma
this.
and grandpa, and that's why we had to endure what we endured.
Wow. That's interesting. That's a great topic because most of the things that my parents did, I emulated. You know, did them when you guys were growing up, you and your brother. Um, like my parents, I didn't have to do much butt whipping because
Oh,
I
I'm
talked to
bringing
you
up
guys.
no idea.
I gave you the eye,
Yeah, did a lot of that.
and most times, at least your brother, uh, you were kind of you were a good kid.
Wait, man, why you have to say it like that? Like, hold up. You sure?
You were you weren't a bad kid. But no, really, I did, as much as possible, followed. People usually do what they know. And I did what my parents did. The only thing is, my parents didn't do much talking. They were action people, and they didn't have to do that much. Um, my mom and my dad had a certain look on their
Followed.
face, so we
People
knew
usually
right
do what they.
away what that meant. Um, so that I pretty much talked to you guys, and because of our experiences, that things we went through as a family unit, my kids and I, and uh, part of the time where I was a single parent, I can truly say my children knew mommy was working hard, and mommy, had a full day. So usually all I had to do was to talk to you and tell you, give you instructions. Most times you guys followed. As with most kids, you deviated every now and then, but it wasn't a thing where I had to constantly stay on you guys. So yeah, but for the most part, I did what my parents did. It was that look. There's a certain look. All they had to do was give you that look, and you could be all the way across country, and you saw that look, or dad's eyebrows, those unibrows going up, and you knew what that meant. You saw mom's mouth twist a certain way, you knew what that meant. And I kind of added on to that because when we were in church, I remember the shaky hand. You remember that, La? The
Yes,
shaky
Lord.
hand.
She be like this. She does that now. I'm over 40 years
Yeah.
old and she still be doing that when I come out my mouth with
Yes.
something and she's
Yes.
like,
Even
hey.
with Johnny, they know. Even Johnny knows when that hand starts
I be
shaking.
wanting to try her to the very last millisecond to see if she really is gonna pop me
Yes.
over 40 years old and then you
Yeah.
ready to like get out of
I
Dodge.
told you, in every family, there's always one kid
It was me,
that tries the
and I'm getting
system,
it back,
and I
yo.
was that kid. She was that kid. Yes. But
I
all
just
in
said,
all,
so wait a minute. Let me defend myself. I only said what everybody else was thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, my brother wanted to, like, question certain things. And my little sister, like, they wanted to question stuff, especially with my dad. And I was the only one bold enough to be like, well, why do we have to do that? But wait a minute. Yesterday you said such and such and such. That was me. But I didn't say it in a
always
disrespectful way. It was more of a, I just want to be clear type of way. That was it.
there's always one.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
She was the one.
Benita said, "Hey,
Let's hear
Benita.
what our audience.
Hey, Kevin, Linda. What's going on, big bro?" Um, so wait a minute. Let me back up. He says, "No company in the house while I'm not home." Yeah, so I don't have anybody that's company ready. I mean, well, I take that back. They're not at an age where they would probably desire, and I guess this era they don't really desire to have company while I'm not home. Um, because they just have too much going on. Like, even before the pandemic with schoolwork, especially my oldest daughter, she's like, "Look, I don't even have time to FaceTime nobody and talk to them on the phone because I'm just trying to get my work done." So never really had that issue. But yeah, we would definitely not. And even when I'm home, it's just, some days you just be like, I did not come home to like have a house full of kids added on with another house full of kids. Like, like we already got a lot. So, no.
I'll tell you one thing too that and it seems to be a trend with the parents now. When we were coming up, it was not an option. When you came home from school, off went the school clothes,
Yeah.
on went your work clothes or your play
But
clothes.
nobody
Not
ever
that you
really saw
played
a play
during
clothes.
the week,
And I gotta
but
interrupt you real quick, Ma. I gotta
now
interrupt you. Hey, I gotta
whatever they wore
interrupt
to
you.
school, they have
You're
them
not
on
listening
until
on
they go to
purpose.
bed.
Mommy. I gotta interrupt you because one of my old school buddies is on here and she said, shout out to Lisa Peterson. She said that from what she remembers, I was a good kid and respectful. See? For all y'all who think I was just a all out rebel, like, see, I was a good kid. Thanks, Lisa. What I owe you? What's your cap? I really was.
Let's
Though.
hear some comments.
I really was. I wish all my classmates would come on here. I really was a good kid. That's my story. I'm
Please,
sticking to it.
please come on.
True. It's my story. But no, like, and so with the school clothes, you did that. Like, this is what I didn't understand. Cause Lisa, you ain't see us after I came home from school. Why? Because the good Reverend didn't allow us to go outside during the weekday. So we had to come in the house and like wash up and change into our play clothes. But where we playing at? Cause we couldn't even go outside. Like, we changed our clothes for what? Like, we couldn't even go outside.
On the
So
balcony.
yeah, we couldn't even go on the balcony unless y'all were home. He considered that outside, and so that was one of the things I got in trouble for because I was like, well, it's still in the house, like, because it's connected to the house. So how is being on the balcony outside? Like, I didn't understand that. I didn't. But
Anytime you're catching air.
Vanita said,
Wow.
controlled portions at mealtime. I kept that rule with my children. If you want to eat tomorrow, you'll be satisfied with what you got today. So before y'all call CPS, so I do that to an extent. And it's not necessarily with the kids. It's with my husband. My husband eat a lot, like especially if I cook a home cooked meal. Like, he'll be like, "Is there a second?" Like, if I put it buffet style, then I'm looking at the food like, okay, so this was supposed to last for another 2 days, and he like still eating. But I find, and then he'll put more on his plate than he can actually like finish, and so it'd be sitting on his plate, and then he'll try to pawn it off with one of the kids, or whatever. But I find that, oh, and then if they fix their plate, they'll get more of what they want. And then like the vegetables kind of get like a little, skimpy on their plate. So what I do is I will make the plate. I'll make the first plate
I'm
to
glad
give
you
them an
mentioned the
example.
vegetable thing.
Yes, they so my son, my youngest son, would be like, this is good. It looks good. And knowing that he don't want to eat like spinach, he'll swell out. He'll tell you in a heartbeat, oh, I love spinach. But it be like still sitting on his plate while everything else is disappearing, right? And he says he saves the best for last. I don't know where he learned that from. But like, yeah, he can't stand certain
Mm.
vegetables. So I'll make the plates so that they have an example of what their plate should look like. And just teaching them like when you have a main course and you add sides, then you make that main course last and stretch a little longer. So I make the plate so that they
Or
know
you
what
eat
it looks
things
like.
together, or
Yeah,
kind
and
of have some
so
kind of system.
my youngest son is like my dad was. My dad didn't like his food touching, and he couldn't eat it together. He would literally turn his plate and eat, and then turn his plate and eat. And my youngest son, I don't know, like he never got an opportunity to meet my dad because my dad had passed, but he does the same thing. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? Like he cannot. I almost want to go out and buy like the little sectional plates like that I use for my toddler because that's just how he eat. He don't like his food touching. They have to have space in
Uh,
between.
But 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 the thing of it is, his carousel keeps turning because he bypasses the veggies every single time. That carousel must be going really fast because he seems. But you know what? And I'm putting my son out there, my son-in-law out there, because um, son-in-law once upon a time was not eating
He
vegetables
wasn't.
like he should,
I had to sneak it into
and
school like the kids.
so children, they watch us. You know what I'm saying? So
I had to get
yeah, so the
creative with
kids
it. So
grow up
now he eats them though.
eating. I don't know with Layla. Layla loves vegetables.
Layla is my
She
health freak.
is the
Like
one. She's the one. I
everything is
could just
healthy.
put a whole garden in front of her.
Yeah, she would eat like bowls of collard greens, like for snack.
Yeah.
But now, so
So, but it
shout
does
out
make
to
a
my king, my
difference
baby. He do
how
eat
we as
vegetables now.
parents model for our kids. You can't tell the kids eat all your vegetables and then you have a whole plate full there. You
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, I've
So
gotten
we have
creative with
to
it
be
because
models for our children.
what I will say is, and then I'll get off the food topic. But I know growing up, there were certain things that I was just like, oh my gosh, like why are we eating this? I remember was it Safeway that was across the street from us? I think it was Safeway. They had like this deal on steaks, right? So my dad, they were like these thin little steaks or whatever. So my dad bought like packs of them. We had a whole deep freezer full. My mother went to open the pack, cook the first batch for dinner. They were liver steaks. I hate liver. Like I hate liver. It has no taste. And I know it's probably I guess it's good for you. I don't know. I don't really care. I didn't care to like look into it, look it up and find out. I hate liver. And so we had liver for months.
Just brought up another.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you made it with like
What
fried
is it
onions
with
and
liver?
potatoes. You made it with like you sauteed and cut it up like little steaks. Like I just I don't know, man. Anybody else like
Cowboy
liver?
steak.
Like I can't. I don't understand why. Like
What is it about
what's
steak
wrong
that
with your
you don't
palate?
want
Like
to
what?
eat?
It just doesn't
I don't get
taste
it.
good. You like it? I thought you was doing that to punish us. You
I
like steak?
I
I
used
mean,
to
you like
love
liver?
it, and the only reason I don't eat it now is because I'm not a red meat eater on a regular.
Let me tell you, it's gross. It's nasty. I wouldn't even subject my kids to that today. I really wouldn't. Even so, but my youngest baby,
See?
she's not even 2. And when she eats chicken, she digs in and she gets that little liver piece. It's so gross. Like she gets okay. Can we get off of food? Like that's nasty. Ew. I hate it too, Benita. I don't know what my mom tripping. She tripping this morning. She tripping. She pretty, but she tripping.
I used to love liver. I love it.
What's up, Boo? She
And you
said they
know
got
what
bigger
you just
section of
talked
plates at
about
Walmart. I'm
is
on it.
I've started in my later years trying to get a quota in at least once a month to eat some red meat.
Ew. Liver with
And
fried
liver, I
onions and
used to
gravy
love
with
it with
potatoes.
onions all crawling out of it. And mom would even make some gravy for it.
Can we stop? Can we do
Mm,
something
mm,
else? This segment wasn't about liver.
delicious.
Thank the Lord. It can we? It's not about liver. Can we talk about something else? That's nasty. Kevin talking
Woo!
about fried onions, gravy, and potatoes with the. Anyway,
Love it, love it.
one of the things that I think that well, I know I've adopted is I don't like when the children get up from the table without asking or without asking their dad, can they be excused?
Mm,
It's just and for me, it's not just oh my parents did it, so I'm gonna do it. It really is a form of respect.
it's just respect,
We
common courtesy.
gather like when I fix the food, I gather the family together to fellowship together. That's what the whole purpose of us sitting down at the table eating together. So I feel like on a personal level, I feel like it's a disrespect to just get up and leave because that's our opportunity to like talk to each other, um, ask how each other's days doing, what's going on in your world or whatever. Collectively, have little mini family meetings, and so and then that's where I get to take my mental pictures of my family. I'm sitting at the table and I'm just admiring everybody, just looking around. And so if you get up, it kind of like you know messes with my mojo or something. I don't know. So I like even down to the so mommy is so cute. You got to you got to see Laura. Laura be like, "Mommy, like can I go?" and she in a hot chair. But like literally, I just I don't know. I'd rather you ask, that might be excused. And I always remember like it was almost like when my dad got up, the lock was taken off the table. Like we were all on lock until he grabbed his cup and got up. And so if he grabbed his cup and got up, then it pretty much was like free game. Like dinner was over, and even if you weren't finished eating,
Are we
like
getting any comments from
Dad,
our
you just cut
audience?
me
Because you're
off.
breaking up on this then.
They said they heard me. They said you're breaking up. What's up, girl?
Yeah, you're breaking up with me.
What are you on? Your cell phone?
Yeah,
Because earlier they were saying that you were breaking up. That
yeah, you're
that they
still
could they
breaking up.
said they could hear me, but you were breaking up.
You're breaking up. Breaking up is hard
Y'all
to do,
tell me what y'all hear, guys,
but
out
for this
there.
case,
Out there in Facebook land. Can you hear both of us clearly? Cause she just cut me all the way off.
testing,
Like she just cut all into me.
testing.
Let us know if you can hear both of us clear.
But you know, another thing you mentioned getting up from the table, um, only when you're excused from the table, and as you said, that's common courtesy.
Okay.
You remember the time when also there was this time when you didn't eat all
Oh,
your
she just
food or it's
interrupted me
something you
on
didn't
purpose
want on
then.
your plate and you were made to sit there until it was gone? Was it you or your brother? I think it was you.
Well, all of us we couldn't, but yeah, I remember it was a couple of times like when you made that lift, I was still there, and
Yeah,
like even at a certain
yeah.
time, Daddy would come back out and be like, get up from that table and clean up, and I would get up and the food didn't go in the trash. Like you wrapped it up, you were wrapped, and you was real petty, man. You was real petty. Cause let me tell you how petty you were.
You
So
either had it for your lunch or breakfast the
no,
next
it was
day,
the
one or
next
the other,
dinner. It was the
when
next
you finally
dinner.
did get
It
up.
was the next dinner, and you would make a whole fresh new bomb dinner that you knew I liked. Right? She was real petty back then. Like
Yep, waste not, want
real
not.
petty back then. Like, and I'll be like, that shit smell good. Sit at the table. What I got? The
Yeah,
same
you're
old
freezing up on me.
leftover
I don't know
liver.
why.
I think it's your connection at your house, Ma. They said they hear both of us. They
They
said
hear what?
they said they hear both of us clear. So it's you. Oh, I think you just
Repeat.
tried. You be trying to interrupt me because I'm telling too much.
It's nothing else going on here.
Me, she would. Yeah,
My
but they.
office mate has my office mate hasn't come in yet.
I can hear you. They can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes, and they can hear you.
Okay. Well, that's the only thing that
So
matters.
maybe it was meant for you not to really hear what I gotta say because there's a couple of rules from my back in the day living with you and daddy that I don't like, and you wasn't meant to hear that. So maybe
Spit it out. Spit it out.
the good Lord up above is intercepting our reception with each other so that I could get it out without you.
Well, I'm only 7 minutes. I'm only 7 minutes away from you.
Yes, sis, meaty. Mama Lou is petty. She was petty. She would make me eat leftovers and make real good, like new food for everybody else. And I be sitting there with the leftover
Waste
liver.
not, waste not, want not. Waste
Yo,
not,
and I
want
was
not. That
stubborn
was
like
our
for
rule.
days. I remember for days until the threats started coming in. Like, yo, eat this food or you gonna go in the back and get that butt tore up, like literally, like the threats would start coming in. I remember I held out for like 2 days and I was like, surely this food is gone bad by now, like it still ain't fresh, don't this have a sell by date, like, yeah. She was petty, she was beautiful, but she
There's one correction. They weren't threats. They weren't that threats. They were
they were
promises.
promises, yeah.
Unlike,
That's what she
and
called it.
that's another thing. Parents today, and in fact, we had a situation where little Marky, Marky pointed out, said, "Mommy always punch, but she doesn't follow through because she forgets."
Until that day I
And
came through and was like, wallop. Gerald said no one should eat liver. I'm with you, Gerald. I don't know what's wrong with
oh
my
my
family.
gosh,
I don't know what
liver
is wrong with
is.
my family, man. That was a punishment in itself.
That's why your iron is so
Can you
low
like
because
call
you don't
CPS
eat
for stuff that
liver.
happened like years ago? I need to know because there was some things that's questionable. But nah, seriously though. I mean, I guess it made me who I am today, and I don't have to eat it no more. Um, Let me see what else.
Another thing was when you started dating. I don't remember
Because I
you
didn't tell
having
you when I
your
started dating.
male friends over,
Um,
like courting.
Wasn't no dude coming over my house. Mm-mm. Not at
I
all.
wonder why. I wonder why. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, look, let me tell you, wasn't no guy ever coming over my house. If you met my daddy, yo, we was like blood brothers and sisters. You understand me? Like somebody I was liking, like and wanted to date, like, nah, no sir. Mm-mm. You ain't meet my daddy. Like you.
Or the infamous question, are you a part of the problem or part of the solution?
So I was
And
in college.
yeah.
I
And
was in college.
if you hesitated for one moment, that was my answer. That was the answer. You're out.
He was like, I was in college. I invited this guy over to meet my dad. I don't even know why, because it wasn't really serious. I was into my schooling. So, like, but I was just like, we cool, we hang out. So, brought him over. And I don't think he understood the question for real. But I could have sworn my dad said, so you have intentions with my daughter? And he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything got quiet. And I was looking at him like, yo, like, are you listening?
No.
You are not the one because first of all, you didn't even hear what he like. Did you hear the question? Like, dude, you just said a whole entire oh yeah 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 in front of my dad. Like, you don't do that. He a pastor, but he got rifles and stuff. Like, don't do that. Like, why you do that?
No, not the question.
I said, yo, he could not have been listening. He clearly said, "Do you have intentions?" And like the way he said it, the way he kept saying, "Yeah, yeah," it was just
We
kind of suspect. Like, yo, like, dude, pause.
He had intention.
Pause. I'm gonna need you to listen.
Oh my
And like if
gosh.
you can't listen for understanding, then you're probably not the one. Like, and he wasn't. So clearly.
And another thing that I see now, do you know, as a parent, do you know who your child's friends are, acquaintances? Do you know who they're? So when I grew up, parents knew, we knew, everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. And it wasn't, any such thing as a stranger lurking, someone just happened upon, with playing with your children and you didn't know them. If you didn't know them, one of the neighborhood kids knew them, or, you got to know them.
So
I grew up in an era where um, everybody in the neighborhood knew each other, and to the point where if there were any we had my family, it was three, there were three of us, and particularly during the summer, I guess we changed at least three times a day. And that was another thing that I sort of carried on with my kids.
when I
um
became a mom, I did that too.
yeah, you go
Like
out
I
and
had a nanny, and I made her change my babies like three times a day. Yeah, I was
yeah,
wanting to be bougie,
that was a
but I
must. In
wasn't
fact,
really.
to the point where my mom, don't you dare, at the time where we had to come in to take a nap and, wash up, change clothes for the afternoon or the evening, if you were anywhere near our house, you got thrown in the tub as well. And that, the difference, of course, from now, times now, where I don't think that is such an option, or was such an option. But I know with my kids, we invited them for lunch or something like that, but we wouldn't. I during my rearing of my kids, it wasn't a thing where I wouldn't put them in the tub, and for obvious reasons. But anyhow,
So Meaty wants to know when I introduced Johnny Castro to you.
tell her how.
How did I introduce is the question. So if you've ever had the privilege of going to my mom's house, she lives in the boonies. It looks like she lives in the country when you get back there. But she is absolutely surrounded by southeast. But it looks like a chunk of the country just back there. She has all this land and
That,
a house and everything. And so her driveway is about half a mile. And then you gotta turn before you can even see the house. So it's like surrounded by trees and more trees. But so I'm like, I want you to meet my
listen,
mom. I was like, I want you to meet my mom. So he was like, okay, cool. He think he in there now. He like, yes, I'm meeting moms. So even when she had come, so I was going to Zion, and she came to visit Zion because my mother will always show up at whatever church. Like after my dad passed, and I finally was like, I'm gonna go back to church and that's a whole other story in itself. But anyway, I started going to church. Um, Found this dynamic pastor, Key Battle. Shout out to Key Battle. Who was instrumental in bringing me back to where I needed to be. After the passing of my dad. And so anyway, my mother would come and visit, kind of put her covering over me to see, who I was up under in terms of the ministry. And so even when she would come, I never introduced her to like people, maybe the pastor, because I was on a praise team or whatever. So, I knew Pastor Battlewell. And so, introduce her to the pastor or whatever. And some of the praise team would be like, oh, that's your mom. She's so pretty, blah, 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 whatever. But like never really introduce her to anybody else. So he would see her, but he never really like formally introduced. So there's one particular time when I finally was like, okay, like we'll date. And I had told him we were going out to the movies or something like that, and I was like, I'm gonna take you past and introduce to my mom afterwards. So it was nighttime, and we were driving, and I was like, I'm driving right because I didn't want him to learn how to get to my mom's house, so I'm driving. And so we're driving. When I get halfway through the path, I turned the lights off. He's like, "Yo, where the heck are we going?" So he thought it was a setup. You know, he from Brooklyn. He thought I was setting him up. You know, I really wasn't a church girl. That I was one of them girls. You know, go have some dudes come out and like rob us and fake rob me and rob him. I don't know what he was thinking. So I'm just joking because I was just like, you know, oh guys, like it's dark back here, and so he was like freaked out. So anyway, we get back there. My mom comes out there, and I remember, I remember dating him, and I was also dating this other guy who shall remain nameless because you know he's on my Facebook page. We cool, but anyway, so after we had left at her house or whatever, he never got to come in. Like, you know, he didn't make it that far. So like she was still like filling him out. So he never got a chance to come in the house. So he wasn't invited in the house. She came out and he was sitting there like, yo, why are we still sitting in the car?
It was a long
But
time before he got to come to my house.
he didn't get the privilege of coming in the house
But
for a
see,
minute. It was funny. So
but if
anyway, after we left, I texted her and I was like, Marcel, what do you think? What do you think about him or whatever? So she was like, well, and I was like, do you like him or do you like such and such? So she was like, well, such and such is cute, but this one is handsome. And I was like, what's that mean? Like, what's this? She was like, he's more of like, you know, your like manly, like handsome. Like he's handsome. He's not just cute. You know, so I was like, okay, all right. So he got to come over a
you
couple of
know,
times and chill in the driveway. He only chilled in the driveway. And he used to, and after we started like
it was a long time.
courting, after we started courting, he was like, I noticed like I never got to come in. Like your mother never invited me in the house. And we would get out the car, would turn the car off. We'd be chilling outside. My mother would go in the house, get something to drink, come back out. She would offer him something to drink, but he never got a chance to come in the house until we were
Very
engaged.
particular whose footsteps come in my house.
We were engaged, and no, were we were about to be married. Like I think he was able, and I think something
Oh, that was
happened, and he was able to come in. He went in the house. It was an emergency, so he went in there for something, and she sent him in there. Even then, it was like a pause before she was like, "Yeah, okay." I think we were getting ready to be married. Like it was serious. Like my mother was like, "Yeah, he not coming up in here," but. Yeah, we were about to be married, and he was able to come in the house. So he always tells that story. But that's how he
it was
met
a
my
long
mom.
time.
And like he met my brother. My brother came over one day and cooked. In my apartment, he came and cooked for me. And actually, no, that wasn't the first time he met you. He met you. You came over my apartment, but y'all didn't really talk. It was embarrassing because so he came over. I used to have dinner parties, and so this particular time, no, meaty, he was not allowed in the house. So he was over the apartment, and you guys came over. You and T came over, and Latif was cooking for me. So y'all were in the kitchen, like huddled up, and you can hear y'all was talking, and then Latif would come and peek out, and then you would come and peek out, and I'm like, what is going on? But I never really like spoke to him. Like you was like, what's up? And then, but it wasn't like welcome you into the family. This must be the one. It wasn't like that at all. And like Latif, cooked, and I remember sitting down and eating, and y'all were like really like standoffish. Like my family is really protective. My brother's really really protective. We're protective of each other. But
Man of a few words.
but
Yeah, you said
now,
it out
oh
all
my
the time.
gosh, you would
Yeah.
think that
But at
I married
least,
into the family. I hate it. You would think I married, like even people, like when I first came to New Bethel, people thought I was the person, like my mother was my in law until I smiled, and they were like, oh, they look alike. But like literally everybody thought that my brother was his brother, his blood brother, and my mother was his blood mother. I was so pissed. I was like, yo, that's my mom. Like, what are you doing? But like today, you could even tell. Like they literally, my mom fell in love with Johnny Castro way before we got married, and so
but
he
Johnny
became
was
her
always like
son.
a son from
Right,
the
he became
beginning.
her son like
Once,
before
yeah,
we
once
got
we
married.
got acquainted, Yeah, he's like another son, and it's
And he's
so
spoiled.
crazy because he and La like compete
We
for
act like
motherhood.
brother and
For my
sister, like
husband.
literally competing for my mama's love. Like seriously. Like
Oh
if
my
we go
God.
past the house and I give her a kiss, he gotta run back, get jump out the car and be the last person to give her a kiss. And then I run out the car, he threatened to leave, and I run be like, I'm the last person to give mommy a
On and
kiss. And
on
it's
and
horrible. Like
on.
we act like little kids. We act like little kids, but I love him.
Do we have any comments?
They laughing at me.
Anybody? Uh, Come on,
They
you guys.
they laughing. They sit here laughing at me. Okay, let me go back. Vanita says, that's one rule I kept from my parents too. I made a point to meet the parents of my children's friends. Yeah, I know all of my children's friends. Hey, Rhonda. Another childhood friend that's like my sister. She is my sister.
So, Rhonda, hi, Rhonda. That's another one of my babies. Yes.
Rhonda knows. So one of the rules was we had to come in before the street lights came on, or before 6 o'clock, whichever came first. And
Oh,
I think
the big
the
one.
6 o'clock. No, the street lights always came on first, and they would come on like dusk, where it wasn't really dark outside, and the whole neighborhood would be like, "Tina, y'all
Knew
gotta
what
be in
time.
now." So it wasn't even like we could
Knew
like we
what
forgot. They be yelling through the neighborhood that we had to, it was time for us to go in. And I do like I guess I started doing that with my children, but so there we were growing up, we lived in an apartment. We live in a house now, and they don't
time.
really go out. Like I have to make them go outside. Is there anybody on here whose children like just don't like going outside? Like they'd rather be in the house. I know my boys,
Well,
they'd
now they
rather be in front of
imagine.
like a video game, which we X that out. But like
Yeah.
they don't like kids today. And
And
I mean
so,
before all of the drama, like where crime got really elevated, kids just don't like going outside. Like I remember we'd
mm-mm.
be outside all day on a Saturday, like Sice. Yeah, Sice. I'm familiar. We was Sice, like to be outside all day on a Saturday. Like once the lock was off the door and we was able to go outside, you wouldn't see us again until like lunchtime. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be like 8 o'clock in the morning. We outside. Rhonda, weren't we? We'd be outside sitting on the stoop dancing. Let me see. Gerald said,
I'll
"Oh,
tell you another
so
thing. An,
Gerald said
another thing that
yours like your
we
son
did.
likes going outside." Okay,
Oh, go ahead.
Gerald, I think he
You say
said
he doesn't? He didn't?
I think he said his son likes going outside. Robin said
Okay.
she had to be in by the
Yeah.
time the street lights came on.
Yeah. Well, now
Rhonda
that's
remember talking from the
tradition.
balcony.
Yeah. Who needed cell phones?
Renee said
Yeah, you
her son
didn't
never
need
wants
cell
to go outside.
phones.
Right, we didn't need
But
cell phones.
another thing was I grew up with, parents always did, even though my parents worked, my dad worked at least three jobs any given time. My mom was a homemaker until we got school age. But we always found that time we either traveled, took trips together, um, even until we were, like I guess the oldest of us was like a teenager, and we would still. My dad was a railroad man, so we always traveled by train, taking trips. My favorite with my dad, with my parents was watching the fights, and that's why I'm a, a boxing enthusiast to this day. Was whatever time my dad would come home break time between his jobs, that was one of the things we would do on Saturday night was to watch the boxing matches, eating cheese and crackers and sauce. Y'all don't know about sauce, okay?
With sauce,
Those were in my court
sauerkraut.
days.
What's that?
But
What's that? Wait,
one
what's
thing
that?
that I did with
What's sauce?
sauce,
What's that?
I have to tell you, that's an old Southern. It's like if you can imagine, like a jelly, like it was stuck together by like a jelly, like gel-like substance, and it had like pepper and pickle stuff
I'm
in
good.
it, pickling,
I'm good.
like pig fat.
I'm good. I'm
I
glad
told
you
you
didn't
that was.
introduce that to me in my
But
childhood.
the other thing
I'm good.
with my kids, I grew up doing something with them, even in my busy schedule of work, 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 work. Um, we either went out to the basketball court. Yeah, that was another one of my favorite things was basketball and volleyball, and we would do things together. I believe now because of the work schedules of parents, well, before this pandemic, parents are so busy working and working and working, multi jobs as well. So um, little, if any, time is spent with the kids on the average. That's one of the pro sides. I guess we mentioned that on last week. With this pandemic, it has definitely drawn families closer together.
Yeah.
Um, so that's going to be one of the pluses. And I'm hoping and praying that when this is over, and it will be over eventually, that families will continue to connect with each other, you know. But yeah, those, when you look at it, the pros and the cons of how things that you do that your parents once did with you, yeah, I think that's a given. Some of those things you're going to carry on, and whether by tradition or just as La had mentioned, things that you would do on the ordinary anyway. So yeah, I those were the days, the good old days.
Nasty.
Yeah.
And coming in before the street lights came on. But let me see. Oh, Gerald said his son doesn't like going outside. What's up with this Fortnite? So I'm trying to like study it because my boy, well, more so my youngest son is addicted to this Fortnite thing, and I need to know a little bit more about it.
You have, I have no clue.
He had his
Give us a
dad
brief.
played it with him, and I don't know. The part that he showed him was like building things. So I don't know. Is there more
Is
to
it like
Fortnite?
Minecraft? Like Minecraft?
Maybe I got him confused. I don't know. Maybe he only chose to play Minecraft with Daddy and not Fortnite. I don't know. But we need to find out what
I
Fortnite
know Monkey that used to be a thing for him. Yeah.
is. When they say in good
Wow.
ways and bad ways, this pandemic is changing our families. What are some of the bad ways? What are some of the bad ways? That's
Some of the what?
the building
Bad ways
of how the pandemic is changing our families.